Welcome to A Direction Forward, Season 3, Episode 3. So 3 3. I'm still on my senior dating and thought it might be interesting to go over what they consider like 40 deep questions to get to know someone better. Now, let's not do 40 questions all at one time. That would be a bit much, I think. I know I would be. And it would be almost like interrogating that other person, which is never a good thing. So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of go over I'm not going to go over all 40 of them. My God, we'd be here all day. But go over some of the highlights of them. And then you can also Google 40 deep questions to get to know someone and look and see the ones that I've missed. So, have you ever find yourself a few sips into a mug of coffee and someone pondering what spellbinding stories lurk beyond the old "what do you do for a living" kind of question? So, it's time to skip the small talk and dive right into questions that will help you really get to know someone better. And so that's why I'm going to, talk about some of the 40 provoking questions that you could help what I call peel back the layers faster with your onion. And I talk about that before, where you get to know someone and it's like peeling back the layers of an onion and you finally get to know the true person. Sometimes that takes a while. It might not be, right away. It might take months, even a year to really get to know someone. And some of these questions I think will help you throughout the way. And what is really the importance of deep questions? So imagine, well, basically you're diving into the ocean of someone else's mind, bypassing the shallow waters and just heading straight for the deep end, as they say. And that's what deep questions can do. They take us beyond the surface of small talk and into the real connection. They're like keys that unlock the doors to understanding and empathy, allowing us to explore the hidden chambers of someone else's world. And that can be very interesting, and it can be kind of scary, and it can be all sorts of things. But you're not really going to know someone, know that other person, unless you do ask some of these questions. And you need to it creates meaningful relationships. So deep questions act as bridges, connecting our hearts and our minds. They allow us to uncover the layers of someone's personality, fostering stronger bonds based on mutual understanding and respect. Now, respect is something that lately in my life has come up quite a few times in conversations I've had with my friends. And it's interesting because growing up, we always talked about respect and we always knew what respect was. And then it seems like we get older and respect just kind of goes to the side for some reason. And I don't know why. But lately I feel that a lot of males, I guess, are just not respecting us like they used to. And I don't know if that's because of the women's movement, because we've, basically have created our own quagmire, or it's just that guys just don't respect you. So create meaningful relationships is one of the ways that these deep questions. Another way is that they reveal core values. And I also talk about core values, and I think that's very, very important when you're in any type of a relationship or starting out in a relationship. I call core values my foundation. And in order to have a relationship, you need to have that foundation. And otherwise your relationship is not going to be stable. It's going to be shaky. It's going to be rocky. And so core values are when we ask deep questions, we're inviting others to share their guiding principles and beliefs. So it's like unfolding a map that reveals how they navigate their journey. And also, it's an unveiling dreams and traits. So deep questions can help us understand what makes someone tick, what lights up their eyes, and what stirs their soul. It also is promoting self-reflection. Not only do these questions help us learn about others, but they also prompt introspection. As we listen to others' responses, we may find ourselves reflecting on our own values, dreams, and traits. So asking deep questions is an art. It truly is. And I have to say that I'm rubbish at it. It requires genuine curiosity, active listening, and a willingness to dive deep. So next time you want to get to know someone, don't be afraid to plunge into the depths. You never know what treasures you might discover. So some of the deep questions talk about values and beliefs. So let's dive into some of those thought-provoking questions that will help us navigate someone's values and beliefs. So one of the questions is, do you believe in fate? Or do you think we created our own destiny? That's a really good one. I call it fate, or the universe creates certain things for us, guides us in certain ways. So I really and truly think that we do, in our own way. We might be positive thinking or going in a direction, but I really do think that we do create our own destiny. Another one to ask is, what's a belief you hold with which many people disagree? So that's a good one. That it might be, you might even get into an argument with that. So maybe not so fast on that one. How do your beliefs influence your decision-making process? So that's a good one, because sometimes people are brought up a certain way, or a certain religion, or just where they've traveled to or whatever. So that could, go into their decision-making process. Can you share a time when your values were challenged, and how did you respond? So that's a good one also. Here's another one. What does success mean to you? And that's a really good one. What does success mean to you? Because it means success means different things to different people. So some deep questions about relationships. These questions will help us learn more about how someone feels about relationships. In other words, somebody might call you their girlfriend or boyfriend, but you're really their side piece. So again, these are kind of some of the questions that you might want to ask. What is your love language? That's one that I do ask. What is your love language? And I think that tells you an awful lot about that other person, because let's say, for instance, your love language might be touch and words of affirmation, and their love language might be gifts and quality time. So if you know what their love language is, then you know what's going to bring a spark to them. And if their love language is gifts and quality time, then that's what you want to do with that person. You want to give them small little gifts, and you want to spend quality time. In the same token, if yours is words of affirmation and touch, then that person knows that they need to touch you, and they need to tell you how special you are. How do you handle disagreements or conflicts in a relationship? That's a good one, because that tells you a lot about how that other person thinks. Are they argumentative? Are they more logical? Are they more empathetic? And not that I like to argue with someone. I don't like to argue with someone, but you can learn an awful lot about, if you do ever have an argument, your first argument, you're just like learning a whole bunch of stuff about this person you never even thought was even possible. So arguments or conflicts, disagreements, does have a way of bringing your relationship together. How important is trust in a relationship to you, and why? Well, I've always been told you need 3 things in any type of relationship, marriage, whatever you got going on, situationship or side piece, whatever. And in order to have trust, you have to have love. So it's love, trust, and then the ability to communicate. And communication is probably one of the most hardest things of the 3. And yet we all think, that we can communicate, just without any problem. But a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. So, but that's what I've been brought up to believe in, is love, trust, and communication. How do you think, what do you think is the key to maintaining a strong relationship? That's another good question, because a lot of people might think, well, just, going out once in a while, or saying hi, or I'm thinking about you. And others might want, to be held. They might want to be presents. Everybody's different. So I think that's another good question. What lessons have you learned from past relationships? Oh boy, that's a good one, because what they say about past relationships is kind of going to give you like a little bit of like what, you're in for with this one. So if they say, well, my past relationships, I've dated XYZ, and X and I are still buddies, and we travel, and but there's nothing going on or something like that. Or they say, well, I'm still friends with my first wife, and whatever their response is. But that's going to give you a really good insight into who they are. One other one I'll go on is, can you describe a time when you felt truly understood by someone? And that's a good one, because that'll tell you who that person is, and what what they felt truly understood about. So deep questions about dreams and goals. We all have dreams. We all have goals. I mean, I hope you do. I mean, I know I do. So questions that explore aspirations and ambitions are always good. And one of the things I like is, what is your biggest dream? That's, like, I know I've had some dreams, and some come true, and some haven't. But I still have dreams, and I still have goals. Can you share a goal you're currently working towards? And that's another good one. How do you handle setbacks or obstacles when pursuing your goals? And that's another really good one. It kind of tells you, what if they do have a sheet of things that they're going for, or if they're just winging it. If you weren't afraid of failing, what would you do? That's kind of a good one. I don't know if I would ask that one, but how do you stay motivated when things get tough? That's a really good one, because that also tells you how they're going through stress, or how they're able to negotiate things. And what's a dream that you've had since childhood? So that's also another good one to talk about and go over. Journeys and experiences. Now, we're seniors. We've had a lot of experiences. We've had a lot of journeys. And so some questions, these are some questions that will get to the heart of someone's journeys and experiences. And like I said, we've all had them. We all know that. And it's okay. One of the questions would be, can you share a moment in your life that felt like a crossroads? And what path did you choose, and why? And that's a good one, because I've kind of reflected on a couple of decisions that I made, some good and some bad. I hate to say it, but some bad ones. And I knew, I hate to say it, but I knew when I was at that crossroads that if I took, let's say if I went to the left instead of to the right, I kind of knew already what I was going to be in for. And it's amazing where you think, oh, well, I'll go to the left and I know it'll be blah, 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 instead of going to the right and starting all over again, or whatever the case may be. But yet, darn it, you go to the left and you're like, okay. So that might be a good one. And another one would be, tell me about a journey that changed your life perspective. So that's also a good one, that you could talk about that. Here's one. Have you ever experienced a butterfly effect moment where a small decision had significant future consequences? Oh my God. Yes, I have. Couple of times. And sure enough, they turned out to be exactly how I thought it was going to, how it was going to end. Have you ever met a stranger who had a profound impact on you? Yes, that's happened to me too. Is there a place you visited that felt like a second home, and what made it special? There's a couple of places that I've been to in the world that the first time I ever went there, I just knew that I'd been there before, or I'd traveled there before, and I could tell you where streets were, I could tell you how to get around, and I had never, ever, ever stepped into that town or that city or that place before. But yet, I knew where things were, and I knew how to get around. So yes. Share a time when you faced a fear and came out stronger. Oh, that's a good one too. I mean, that kind of tells you a little bit about how they've overcome things. And tell us about a memory that never fails to make you smile. That's a good one, because You'd be surprised what people come up with. Tips for asking deep questions. So imagine you're inviting someone into your home and you want to make them feel comfortable, valued, and understood. So when we ask deep questions, it's much the same. We're creating a safe space where thoughts and feelings can be shared freely. In other words, you're not there to judge. You're just there to get to know know the person a little bit better. So how do we create this welcoming atmosphere? So setting the stage. Choose the right time and place. So in other words, don't do it in a crowded bar where you can't hear each other talking. I like to go either on a walk or, like I guess people like to hike. I don't know. I mean, to me, it might be a little bit more exerting to hike because you got to pay attention to what the hell you're doing. But, maybe go on a walk in a garden. Like there was this beautiful botanical gardens where I used to live in California. And when I would first meet someone, I would take them there because it was a nice walk. Everything was paved. You didn't have to worry about slipping or falling or anything like that. And you could just take your time. There were plenty of benches, if you got tired of walking, that you could sit down and chit chat. And it was always pleasant. There was like birds, there was ducks, there was turtles. I mean, it was really nice. So I always went there. And, it was quiet, peaceful. There weren't a lot of people around, so you could have those conversations that nobody's going to be overhearing you. And it really kind of gave me insight into that other person. So deep questions deserve more than a hurried chat in a noisy environment. Like I said, seek a quiet, relaxed setting where both of you can focus on the conversation without distractions. And then warm up with lighter topics. Don't just go dive into the deep end right away, but start with casual conversation to establish rapport and then gradually introduce deeper topics. Respect boundaries. Here we go again. Remember, I talked about respect. Remember, not everyone might be ready to open up. Respect their comfort levels and give them the freedom to choose which questions they want to answer. Mastering the art of listening. Here we go. So you ask the questions, let them speak, don't interrupt. Don't, say, but me. It's not about you. It's about what you've asked them and you want to hear what they say. So be there, be in the present. And, and we do so many things at the same time, but giving someone your undivided attention is a precious gift. Show genuine interest in their responses and avoid interrupting. Show empathy. Empathy is like a comfort blanket that wraps around a conversation. Validate their feelings, even if you don't necessarily agree with them, but just validate it. Respond thoughtfully. Your responses should reflect that you truly heard and understood them. You could even go over, what they said, like use phrases like, it sounds like, or what you're saying is. And this only clarifies that message, but also shows that you're actively engaged. Crafting your responses. Okay, first of all, let's be authentic. When you're authentic, it builds trust. Share your own thoughts and experiences, but avoid making the conversations about you. Ask follow-up questions. These show you're interested and want to understand more. Try to dig deeper with questions like, can you tell me more about? Or how did that make you feel? Express gratitude. Let them know you appreciate their openness, and a simple thank you for sharing that with me can go a long way to strengthening your connection. Thank yous in the early stages of a relationship and showing that you care are very, very important. Asking deep questions isn't an interrogation. It's an exploration. It's about discovering new landscapes of understanding and empathy, where every answer is another step on the journey. So, in conclusion, it's important to remember that getting to know someone on a deeper level is more than just the exchange of information. It's about opening doors, peeling back the layers, and diving headfirst into the vast ocean of human experience. So these questions are your compass. You're guiding you through uncharted territories of thoughts, dreams, and emotions. But remember, every conversation is a two-way street. As you venture deeper, be prepared to share pieces of your own story, painting vivid pictures with your words and experiences. So in this conversation, you're not just an observer, but you're also a participant. So don't shy away from the spotlight. Embrace it. After all, genuine connections are built on mutual understanding and empathy. So here's to the explorers, the curious souls, and the conversation starters. Keep asking, keep sharing, keep discovering, because every conversation is a chance to learn, to grow, and to understand that other person. Thanks for listening to A Direction Forward. I do have an email if you'd like to send me an email at adirectionforward@yahoo.com. And I look forward to hearing from you, and enjoy your day.